What's up my loves? My name is Paige, this is Pages with Paige, and today we're going to be doing if you like this, try this. Hello, so welcome to this video. I am very apprehensive about doing this video because I've never done one of these before. There are many aspects to this that makes me nervous, but what we're going to be doing for Pride Month is, if you liked this popular straight book, try this queer one instead. I am so thankful to Cara from Bianca Reads and Ren from the Reading Ren for helping me out with this, because I realized that I read a lot of popular queer books but not a lot of indie or lesser known, so my recommendations would have been well known, and so I wanted to try and shake it up a bit. They haven't provided a recommendation for everything, but I just wanted to give you something different. I haven't read most of their recommendations. I'm intending on at least getting to a few of them by the end of the year, but at this point in time I haven't read many of them. So it's also adding to my, if I'd like to try it, I very much appreciate their existence in helping get this video to actually happen, because I was very close to scrapping it a couple of times. But if you liked this heterosexual book, try this queer one. So first up we have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, and for this one Cara provided two recommendations, the first being Delilah Green Doesn't Care. This is a lot to do with the relationship dynamics between the two characters and just their questioning sort of relationship style that leads into their relationship. I love Delilah and Claire, and I think their dynamic is on par with the romance in The Hating Game. I also really enjoyed The Hating Game when I read it, so I feel like this is a nice match. And the second one she recommended is Chef's Kiss by TJ Alexander, and this is because it's a workplace romance, again that sort of rivalry and similar workplace vibes. Ren's recommendation is All the Little Moments by G. Benson, and this is an Australian based workplace romance again where they're in the medical field and there's a lot more going on in the protagonist's life that is unfolding as this is all going about, so it's getting to be very hectic, and I feel like it's got that little bit more element of hard hitting, but with the workplace tie, and just it seems super adorable, so I'm very excited to get to this. But that's Ren's recommendation. The next comparison is Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey, and I know that this has got a lot more shade recently, but for me the parallels between the two are uncanny. Although it is the colour of Delilah Green, I'm going with Astrid Parker Doesn't Fail. The renovation and just the vibes between Astrid and Jordan are immaculate, and I feel like there's that sort of you shouldn't want to be with that person, which is the same vibe in Fix Her Up. I know it's odd just going from do, but I definitely feel like if you liked Fix Her Up, you will like Astrid Parker. I definitely recommend reading Delilah Green first, just because you get to know the characters and where they're set better, but if you do just want to dive into Astrid, I don't think that would be a problem. You'll just know about Delilah's and Claire's relationship in the future. Next up is If You Like Twilight. My recommendation is All He Wants for Christmas Is a Fingerling by J.P. Sale. This is the concerning elements of Twilight. There's werewolves and just the unnatural pairing between the two protagonists is where I'm going for this. Definitely has the angsty, concerning birth scenes, and I just feel like it's a vibe, and together they work perfectly. Kari's recommendation is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson, and this I know is a Brides of Dracula retelling that is also queer, and I don't really know how it ties into the Twilight vibes, but bonds forged by blood can only be broken by death. It's on the back, so I'm like, is this a vampire book? And I've just never realized, because yes, so there's that one. And then Rand's recommendation was Blood Thinners by Heather Novak. I believe this is a paranormal vampire queer romance, so yes. If you like the vampire vibes in Twilight, this one will be right up your alley. Next up, if you like A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, I'm gonna recommend The Beast by Katie Robert. So ACOTAR is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, multiple different aspects for the later books in the series. The Beast is a poly relationship between Belle, Gaston and the Beast. So for me it was the perfect fit. I love Katie Roberts' writing. I know that it's not going to be for everyone. The 3 pairings before this book, which is the 4th in the Wicked Villain series, do appear in this. So if you don't want to know how the relationships end up, I would recommend reading through to them. But I feel like if you just want a Beauty and the Beast retelling that is smutty and glorious and has beastly men in it, hi. Kara's recommendation was A Dark and Hollow Star by Ashley Shuttleworth. I do also believe they recommended A Dowry of Blood as well for ACOTAR, and this is by Ashley Shuttleworth. I really don't know how this ties into ACOTAR, so I'm very curious to find out for myself. A half-fate outcast desperate for acceptance, a tempestuous fury hell-bent on revenge, a dutiful prince determined to earn his place, the brooding guardian burdened by a terrible secret. Choose your player. Any of those sound glorious, and I love that there are so many vibes that I can just immediately pull from ACOTAR. The Fae, the Fury, the brooding guardian, the dutiful prince. I just love it. There are so many just tags in that are very ACOTAR based. So if you like ACOTAR, try this. They're also around similar sizing. And then Ren's recommendation is Silver in the Woods by Emily Tesh. And again, not sure how the vibes relate. Maybe in the Fae sort of aspect. I do believe this is a novella, so if you're wanting something quick and easy but still comparable, this would be a good go-to. But I don't have too much more information on that. Next up, if you liked 50 Shades, I would recommend Sunstone Volume 1 by Stefan Sejic, and this is a female-female romance that deals with consensual bondage, and just everything about it is what 50 Shades I wish was like. There's also a comic, so there are multiple volumes, but that comparison is the whole reason this video came into conception, because I'm just like, yes, queer bondage, yes please, that sounds amazing. If you want consensual bondage rather than toxic emotional dickheads, highly recommend. And Ren's recommendation is Tangled Vows by Anna Stone, and this again has aspects of BDSM but done well, and the relationship in it is just a lot healthier than the 50 Shades. And then finally, if you like coho, my recommendation is The Wicker King by Kay Ancrum. This is a codependent sort of relationship, but they're very close friendship and to the point of concern, and the ends that you would go to for a friend who you're in love with, and the consequences of maybe not making the right choice straight off the bat because you are so codependent on one another. So there's that one. And then Ren recommended Unguarded by Jay Hogan, and I believe this is a male-male romance, and there is stuff going on with the protagonist's toxic ex, so sort of dealing with that previous relationship dynamic and trying to move on into a healthier relationship, but having that baggage and having to work through that first. Those were some queer recommendations if you liked the heterosexual books. Obviously for all of the heterosexual books that I've mentioned, there could be an aspect of their sexuality that hasn't been brought forward at this point in time. I'm not really aware of the author's intention on their sexuality, or if they just didn't want to label it, but they were female, male, presenting relationships. That was my criteria, and I hope that you found any interesting recommendation. I'm so thankful to Kaya and Ren for providing me with alternatives that I can now look into as well, because this was actually more challenging than I originally anticipated. So let me know down below if you have any queer books that you would recommend, if you liked any of the books that I mentioned, and let me know, have you read any of our recommendations, and if you feel like they match as well. If you like this video, feel free to give it a big thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more of this mess, feel free to subscribe, and I'll hopefully see you in my next video. Bye!